Have you ever heard of a village where the scarecrows outnumber the people? Not just any scarecrows, but life-size dolls, each with a story, each representing someone who once lived there. Today, we're journeying deep into the mountains of Shikoku Island, Japan, to a place called Nagoro, more famously known as the Valley of the Dolls. This isn't a ghost story, but it's a tale that's both hauntingly beautiful and deeply moving. Nagoro was once a bustling village, home to hundreds of residents. People worked in forestry, at the nearby dam construction, and lived lives full of community and connection. But like many rural areas in Japan, time wasn't kind to Nagoro. The younger generation, seeking jobs and opportunities, began moving to the cities. Houses were abandoned, the school closed its doors, and a profound silence fell over the valley. This is where our story truly begins, with a woman named Tsukimi Ayano. Ayano-san was born in Nagoro, but moved away as a young adult. In the early 2000s, she returned to her childhood home to care for her aging father. What she found was a village of ghosts, not in the supernatural sense, but in the sense of memory and absence. The familiar faces of her youth were gone. The lively chatter had been replaced by the whisper of the wind through empty streets. Feeling lonely and wanting to keep the memory of her neighbors alive, Ayano-san had an idea. It started simply. She created a scarecrow in the likeness of her father to keep birds away from her garden. But this scarecrow wasn't just a bundle of straw, okay? She crafted it with care, giving it clothes and a recognizable face. It looked so much like her father that a neighbor passing by even greeted it, thinking it was him. This small, almost accidental creation sparked something incredible. Ayano-san realized she could do more than just deter birds. She could repopulate her village, not with people, but with memories. She began creating more dolls, or kakashi, as they're called in Japanese. Each doll was made to represent a former resident. She'd remember their posture, their favorite clothes, the way they would sit or stand. She placed them in locations that were meaningful to them. Imagine walking through Nagoro today. You'd see a group of dolls patiently waiting at the bus stop, even though the bus rarely comes anymore. You'd peek into the old school and find a classroom full of doll children, forever young, their doll teacher at the front, ready to start a lesson that will never begin. There are dolls fishing by the river, dolls working in the fields, and dolls chatting on a bench, frozen in a moment of community. Each doll has a name, a personality, a backstory. Ayano-san keeps a registry noting who each doll is when they were born, and when they passed away, meaning when the doll wore out and had to be replaced, which is typically every 3 years or so, due to the harsh mountain weather. It's a constant, dedicated labor of love. She builds them from wooden frames, stuffs them with newspaper and straw, and dresses them in donated clothing. The faces are particularly expressive, sewn from soft cloth with button eyes and stitched smiles that seem to hold 1,000 stories. The project transformed the village. What was once a symbol of decline and depopulation became a world-renowned art installation and a unique tourist destination. People from all over the globe now travel to this remote valley to witness Ayano-san's creation. They come to see the dolls, but they leave with something more: profound meditation on memory, loss, and the enduring power of community. The dolls aren't meant to be scary. Ayano-san sees them as her family, her neighbors. They are a way to combat the loneliness of an empty village. She talks to them, cares for them, and through them, keeps the spirit of Nagoro alive. When you visit, you don't feel like you're in a creepy, abandoned place. Instead, there's a strange sense of life. It's a powerful testament to how one person's artistic vision can completely redefine a place's identity. Let's think about the old school. It closed in 2012 when its last 2 students graduated. Instead of letting it fall into ruin, Ayano-san filled it with her creations. The principal sits in his office, students are in their seats, and even the sports field outside has dolls playing, forever caught in a game of baseball. It's a bittersweet scene. captures the joy of what once was while highlighting the reality of what is now gone. The process of creating a doll is deeply personal. Ayano-san spends about a week on each one. She doesn't just build a figure, she channels a person. She's making a doll of an old woman she knew. She'll remember how she stooped, how she held her hands. The village's population of living residents is now in the single digits, but there are over 350 dolls scattered throughout the valley. They are everywhere. Each scene tells a story of everyday life. What Ayano-san has done is create a living museum. It's not about dates and artifacts behind glass. It's about human connection. The dolls force you to confront the very real issue of rural depopulation in Japan and around the world. But they do it in a way that's not depressing. It's artistic, it's poignant, and it's deeply human. The world took notice. A German filmmaker made a documentary called The Valley of Dolls, which brought Nagoro international fame. Tourists now follow maps to find all the different doll installations. There's even a doll making workshop where visitors can learn Ayano-san's craft. Her work has turned a forgotten village into a destination, bringing a new, different kind of life back to the valley. But what happens when Ayano-san, who is now in her 70s, can no longer make her dolls? It's a question that hangs in the air. The dolls are not permanent. They fade. They wear out. Without her constant care, the village of dolls would eventually disappear, just as the village of people did before it. For now, she continues her work, a solitary artist populating her world with the ghosts of the past, turning a story of loss into one of creation. The story of Nagoro is a powerful reminder that even in the face of decline and loneliness, creativity and love can build something extraordinary. It shows us that even when people leave, their stories can remain, stitched together with thread and cloth, waiting to be discovered. What do you think of Ayano-san's work? Let me know in the comments below.